Hi everybody, my name is Hannah and this is Pepper and Pine, and I have a geometry lesson to share with you today. We're working through our Live Education Waldorf curriculum and we are continuing with 5 division of a circle, and this is going to have a botanical theme today. We have our main lesson books. These measure 9.5 inches by 12.5 inches. They have blank pages separated by an onion skin, and you can find these at A Child's Dream. So today we're going to be working on a lesson that is for 5 division of a circle, and we're going to be working on 2 different pages, and I wanted to include 4 circles, but I only want to do the 5 division of a circle once. So I'm going to measure out to just about 2 inches for my radius, and that's going to give me enough space to do 4 circles on this page. If your page is larger or smaller, you can adjust the radius of your circle. But I'm doing a little bit of math here with my ruler just to make sure that I can position my centers for each of these circles so that I can achieve 5 circles. 1 circle is sufficient. I want to do 5 different botanical leaves that show this pentagon shape within the leaves, and that's why I wanted to do 4 of these, and this coordinates really well with the botany main lesson block that we just completed. So I've measured out the radius for these 4 circles, and now I'm going to flip the page over to this onion skin page that separates these 2 pages together, and I'm going to do my 5 division here. So I've marked my center and I'm going to draw a line right through it. That's going to be the diameter. I'm going to extend my compass and do 2 arcs on either side by placing my compass on each end of the diameter. I'm going to connect those 2 arcs right through the center, and now I've got 4 division of a circle. Now it's time to reposition our compass back to the original radius. You want to make sure that it is indeed correct, so I am going over my original arc just to make sure that it is positioned correctly. Place it at the top of that diameter and do an arc right through the center, and where those 2 parts of that circle cross the original circle, we're drawing a line. We placed our compass at the end of that diameter, putting it back where we crossed the first radius, and then drawing an arc from one side to the next, and we'll see that it crosses below the center at the radius. We reposition our compass once again, and that gives us our 5 division of a circle. So we're going to erase all of these extra lines, and I do have a slow tutorial on how to do the 5 division of a circle. You can find that link down in the description box below. Now I'm just going to go around the circle and make sure that it is evenly spaced all the way around, because you might need to do a little bit of fine tuning, but it all works out really well with 5 division. Now we can go back to our previous page and mark the 5 division on each of these 4 circles. I'm just doing small arcs that cross the circle. I don't need to do huge circles or arcs. I just need to get my 5 division. Now I'm using a ruler to connect those 5 points, and that's going to give me the perfect pentagon. So I'm going to do this with all 4 circles, and now comes the fun part, in my opinion. We are going to be using the book Botanicum, which is a gorgeously illustrated book on botanicals, and we are going to be doing this page that has these different leaves, and I've chosen 4 of them for this lesson. I'm using my Lyra color pencils, and you can use chalk pencils if you'd like. I end up using them a little bit for this lesson. And now we're going to be doing our 4 designs, and I start at the top right side, and I'm going to start with this beautiful green leaf, which is the white mulberry tree. And I'm starting out with my colored pencils, and then later I'm going to add a little bit of the chalk pastel pencils. It's a personal preference as to what art medium you use, but the gesture of this lesson is to see how these different botanicals express this pentagon shape. It's not quite 5-fold symmetry, as you can see, but it has the gesture of being a pentagon in its presentation. So we're starting out with this beautiful green mulberry tree leaf, and I do choose ones that showcase a variety of colors. We are doing this lesson in the fall, and so adding in a couple other tree leaves that are deciduous and change colors is really beautiful, and it's a nice addition to this lesson, and it does coordinate really well with the botany lesson that we just finished recently. And you're going to find a lot of this kind of natural overlap in the Waldorf curriculum, where you're going to see Some lessons have a callback to some of the information that you might have learned in a previous main lesson block or even in a previous year. Now I'm working on the one at the bottom, and it's a really beautiful leaf that I already did in our botany lesson, but we did that with chalk pastels. And I actually like the presentation of the chalk pastels a little bit better than this one, but once you see all 4 leaves together, I think that it looks really beautiful as a lesson presentation. So I'm adding in some darker browns as the veins for this leaf, and this one was quite large, and so it did take more than just that pentagon, and I am using like a dark gray just to highlight the pentagon in the back. And that was the Oregon maple, but now we're going to do the Japanese maple, and you can see that there's a lot of similarities in its five-fold nature. It's not five-fold symmetry, but you can see that pentagon nature, but you can see the variation in the edges of the leaves. I also love how these have more of a fall feel to them since we are doing this lesson in the autumn. Now, there are other images you can use that are botanical in nature for five-fold symmetry. One of the other images that I contemplated using was the cacao bean, and when you look at the cross-section, you can see five-fold symmetry, and it would have worked really well with this pentagon shape. You can also use florals as well. It's a little more challenging with florals when there are more than 5 leaves, but a lot of florals do have that pentagon shape and some sort of five-fold symmetry within the leaves and the petals themselves. We decided to stick with these leaves for this lesson, but there are a lot of variations and choices that you could do in order to get the same gesture for this lesson without using exactly these 4 leaves that we used. But in the end, we had the Japanese maple, we had the Oregon maple, the white mulberry tree, and the one that I'm working on right now is the Scarlet Oak. I hope that you enjoyed this lesson. Don't forget to check out the blog post that accompanies this video, where you will find all of the resources that we have used for our geometry main lesson block. You can find that link down in the description box below. And if you'd like to see how we're homeschooling on a daily basis, you can find me on Instagram and now on TikTok at Pepper and Pine.